Welcome to AGIS, Anguilla Government Information Service, the official source for the latest and most accurate government updates. I'm Selena Hodge, and here are the highlights and developments for the past week. On Monday, 23rd February, the VVPS Gators took center stage in Island Harbor for their exciting Kidpreneur Extravaganza. This initiative allowed students to demonstrate their entrepreneurial spirit by creating, marketing, and selling their own products. These young entrepreneurs gained valuable first-hand experience in business and commerce. Parents, friends, teachers, and community members came out in strong support, purchasing items and encouraging the students as they developed skills in teamwork, money management, and customer engagement. Thanks are extended to the schools and community members who supported your budding entrepreneurs. Your encouragement helps nurture the next generation of business leaders in Anguilla. Marking 1 year in office, the Honorable Premier recently reflected on her administration's journey during a radio interview following her return from the CARICOM meetings held in St. Kitts.
How would you assess this first year at the helm of government? How would you describe the experience?
Yes, it was intense, Hammer. I would not lie. There are a lot of expectations and a lot of requirements. The government is not easy, and the operations of government are complicated. And so because of that, the things that you would want to do in your mind, you envision you're able to do very quickly. There's a process, and we have to respect the process. And we have seen time and time again, when we ignore the process, we bypass it, we go around it, that it has not fared well for the people of Anguilla. And so at the end of the day, while it is that this administration is focused on doing things properly, we also want to ensure that we deliver. The first year would have been laying the foundation. And when I say laying the foundation, Hammer, you have seen that. So for instance, one of our priorities would have been to deliver an updated water network for the people of Anguilla. The pipes have come in, laying the foundation. You're seeing yesterday, and I want to congratulate the team again for the compulsory acquisition motion that came before the House yesterday, laying the groundwork for the extension of the runway. And so year one, 2025, was about that, was about assessing where we are, pivoting to ensure that our people-centered priorities were placed at the front of the agenda and being able to move forward. And I'm happy to say as well, Hammer, that on my behalf, within 6 months of being elected to office, we would have delivered the largest campaign promise that the Anguilla United Front would have had during the campaign, and that was the GST reform. We were able to accomplish that on the 1st of August. And it is fortunate that we were able to do so at the time, because many persons will remember and recognize that with the tariffs that are happening in the U.S., the increase in shipping costs, etc., had we not implemented that at that point in time, I cannot imagine today the types of prices we would have been experiencing. Many persons will want to say, okay, well, it's the cost, the high cost as a result of the retailers. But in large part, the high cost is as a result of the high cost that they have to purchase the goods on the mainland and the shipping costs. And then once it hits their shelves, when you added GST onto it, it became a tremendous burden for the people of Anguilla.
In other words, in short, it hadn't been for the removal of GST, it would have cost us more.
Yeah, we would today, I can't even imagine, but today you see a vibrant economy. And many persons will have noticed, even if some may not want to admit it, people are shopping, people are spending, and people are now going back to the restaurants. And so you see over the Christmas, birthdays, special celebrations, people are patronizing our locally established restaurants once again. And that is because the costs have come back to a point where they're able to do so.
I spoke to leader of the opposition on Monday evening, and he himself was not too happy with that. He believed that we are losing lots of money. He believed that the restaurant sector is getting away with lots of things. He believed that this is fiscally for the country Anguilla.
Yes.
He was really and truly not enthusiastic about this reform. He believed we are paying a whole lot more.
Was he here in person with you, Hamel?
No.
Where was he?
He was on the phone line.
On the phone?
In Florida,
and where?
I guess Florida.
In Florida? Okay, so the first thing I would say is that we have to listen to those who are actually on the ground, those who are here. And the leader of the opposition, for as much as he had to say, is simply not in Anguilla. And I'm not sure how often he's been in Anguilla since he would have taken up the position of leader of the opposition. But the point is that those of us who live here all year round, continuously, we understand that there has been a relief. We understand that the monies that people are now saving, they're actually putting back into the economy because they have more to spend. And so they're able to save, they're able to spend, and they're able to live the type of life that they are accustomed of living. And we still have more work to do. We have the reduction of electricity, which is going to come by way of renewable energy. As you may be aware, the CDB, Caribbean Development Bank, has approved the loan for the first phase of the ANGLEC plan to go towards renewable energy to be implemented. That is going to be a tremendous opportunity for Anguilla to transition over to renewable energy and to pass on those significant savings to the people of Anguilla. It will also impact positively the grocery stores and indeed the restaurants, because the electricity costs are largely as a result of the freezers that they're using, etc. And with moving towards renewable energy, all of those costs are likely to come down, and we're expecting that those savings will be passed on to the ultimate consumer. So there's a lot in store for 2026. We have an ambitious agenda. We have the budget that we've passed, where we've allocated significant sums of money for infrastructural projects, but also for health and also for our water infrastructure, our landfill, the waste structure. So there's a lot of work that we're going to be doing this year. So when I said that year one, it was about setting the foundation, year two and beyond is going to be about acceleration.
She expressed gratitude to the people of Anguilla for their trust in her and reaffirmed her commitment to leading with humility, transparency, and purpose as her team continues working to move Anguilla forward. Celebrations marking 100 years since the birth of national hero James Ronald Webster continued with an ecumenical service on Sunday, 1st March 2026 at the Church of God of Holiness. Clergy, elected officials, family members, and the wider community gathered in unity and thanksgiving for the life and legacy of the Father of the Nation. Scripture readings and musical selections underscore themes of faith, action, and steadfast leadership. On Monday, 2nd March, Anguilla paused again for a wreath-laying ceremony at the James Ronald Webster Mausoleum. The ceremony featured tributes, musical renditions, reflections from family members, and remarks from Honorable Premier Cora Richardson Hodge. The wreath-laying, reading of Mr. Webster's final message, and the lowering of the flags served as solemn reminders of his enduring impact. In reflection of the Honorable James Ronald Webster's contributions to Anguilla, the Premier Cora Richardson Hodge reaffirmed her administration's commitment to nation building through strengthened social protection, investment in education and skills development, modernization of the public service, and inclusive economic growth. The evening concluded with a fireworks display as the nation reflected on his courage, leadership, and vision. The annual Round the Island Class B boat race in honor of Honorable James Ronald Webster was postponed due to inclement weather. However, a new date will be announced by the Anguilla Boat Racing Association. Meanwhile, Jollification 2026 proved to be a success. The Anguilla Enhancement Project toured the island as part of its annual Best Village competition. With government seed funding support, villages enhance their celebrations through building projects, community games, storytelling sessions, and cleanup campaigns. The president of the AEP described this year's activities as a testament to the culture, camaraderie, pride, and unified spirit of the Anguillan people. Roots Americas bring together airlines, airports, and tourism authorities to shape the future of air connectivity across the Americas. Anguilla's delegation is focused on securing new air service opportunities, reinforcing existing routes, and enhancing regional and international connectivity to drive visitor arrivals and sustain tourism growth. Together, our representatives continue positioning Anguilla for greater access, stronger partnerships, and long-term tourism success. The Department of Natural Resources, in collaboration with Caribbean Natural Resources Institute, hosted a fisheries stakeholder engagement workshop from March 4th to 6th to enhance fisheries governance and marine resource management in Anguilla. The initiative forms part of a consultancy by Canary for the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States Commission under the European Union-funded Biospace Project. The workshop gathered feedback on current engagement practices, facilitated dialogue to identify shared priorities, and provided direct input into a stakeholder engagement and communication strategy and action plan. This effort ensures that fishers and key stakeholders play an active role in shaping fisheries governance in Anguilla.
So I'm Melanie Andrews-Bacchus. I'm a Senior Technical Officer with the Caribbean Natural Resources Institute, or CANARI. We are actually here in Anguilla for the week. We are doing some work with the Fisheries and Marine Resources Unit to help them develop a stakeholder engagement and communication strategy and action plan for the Anguilla fisheries sector. So this work is being done under the European Union funded project of Biospace, which is being implemented by the OECS Commission. And basically over the last 2 days and today, we've been doing work in terms of developing that strategy and action plan. We've got really great input, I think, from multiple stakeholders in terms of what this plan should address, what are some of the root causes in terms of communication and engagement, especially between the government and fisher folk. So it's been very insightful. We were also able on Tuesday to do some focus groups with fisher folks at the landing sites, which was also very enlightening. So today's session is our last session of the three-part series, and we're basically looking at what co-management means in terms of fisheries in Anguilla, and how we could kind of really start to see that reflected in policies, plans, and the way that the government and other stakeholders work.
Good day, everyone. My name is Ramon Johnson. I'm the acting director of the Fisheries and Marine Resources Unit, and basically over the last 3 days, we have been having a workshop with the internal stakeholders, so immigration, customs, maritime affairs, some fishers. And basically what this week has been looking at is to see how we can get fishers more involved in the decision-making process and the development of the fishing sector. So we have some colleagues here from Canary, from Trinidad. They're here facilitating the workshops. This is something that they have been doing throughout the whole Caribbean region. So we are learning from them, and they are learning about what we are doing in Anguilla. So the biggest takeaway is that the government, the department, the fisheries unit We just want to make sure that fishers are engaged and that they are involved, because this is their livelihoods and this is something that the country wants to develop. So this is the purpose of the workshop.
As part of Women's Week activities, the Thrive Women Symposium was held on Wednesday, 4th March, under the theme Balance, Build, Become, encouraging women to pursue personal growth and empowerment. Thrive is a bold, action-oriented symposium designed to equip everyday women with practical tools for personal empowerment, safety, resilience, and well-being.
I'm Kamala Murphy, Gender Development Coordinator at the Gender Affairs Unit in the Ministry of Social Development and Education. And today we're here at Red Dragon Disco for our Thrive Women's Symposium. Now, this is the second stage in of Thrive. Thrive is a collaboration with the Community Planning Services Unit, and it is an event where we offer everyday woman skills, personal development skills, and non-traditional skills. So today we're doing inner balance. We would have gone through self-defense, and later this afternoon our ladies are going to learn how to install lashes. They're also going to be learning how to do plumbing 101. Now, Thrive is a major part of our Women's Week. We would have started our Women's Week on Sunday, and it goes until the 8th of March, which is International Women's Day. This year we're celebrating under the theme Give to Gain, accelerating rights and justice for women and girls. Look out for more of our events coming up. You can follow us on social media at Gender Affairs Unit Anguilla. Thank you.
Throughout the week, the Gender Affairs Unit featured the 2026 Rise Women's Awardees, honoring women whose leadership and service uplift women and girls across Anguilla. Awardees were formally recognized on Sunday, 8th March 2026 at a service at the Mount Fortune Seventh-day Adventist Church as part of International Women's Day celebrations. Early Childhood Month 2026 also officially opened under the theme Growing Together, Nurturing Curiosity and Creativity in Every Child. The ceremony brought together stakeholders in early childhood education, featured performances by preschool students, and highlighted the importance of collaboration in nurturing every child's development. Retired teachers known for their foundational contributions were also recognized. The UE Technical Advisory Committee's opening ceremony took place on Tuesday, 3rd March at the Teachers Resource Center, with participation from representatives in Jamaica and Anguilla. The Technical Advisory and Grants Committees play a vital role in reviewing and approving biennium budgets across campuses of the University of the West Indies, ensuring accountability, efficiency, and long-term financial sustainability aligned with national and regional priorities. Fourth Farm History students recently returned from an enriching educational tour to St. Kitts and Nevis from 1st to 4th March 2026, where they investigated the social, economic, and political developments that shaped the Twin Island Federation during and after the Sugar Revolution. The group was led by history teachers Mr. Neil Gums and Ms. Danielle Estridge. Throughout the visit, students engaged in immersive learning experiences that traced the step-by-step process of sugar production. They examined the historical significance of sugar as the backbone of the Federation's economy and explored the factors that led to the eventual closure of the sugar industry. Particular emphasis was placed on understanding the economic transition from sugar production to tourism and how this shift reshaped the national landscape. A major highlight of the tour was a special audience with the Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley. The group wishes to thank Anguilla's Ministry and Department of Education, as well as the principal of the ALHCS and the Ministry of Tourism in St. Kitts and Nevis, among others, for facilitating this project. The Department of Agriculture offloaded a variety of fruit trees this week as part of its ongoing efforts to boost local food production and promote agricultural sustainability in Anguilla. The purpose of this initiative is threefold: to make these fruit trees available for sale to the public, to expand the department's own fruit tree orchard, and to support community growers who have expressed interest in establishing their own fruit tree orchards.
So this morning we are witnessing our first shipment of fruit trees that we will have some for sale, available for sale, and some will continue to expand on our fruit orchard. So these would have been imported from the United States, and this is our first shipment of fruit trees, and that we'll continue to have other shipments coming in over a period of time. What I'd like to say today is that we are excited about this, what is happening this morning, and that we'll continue to build on this as we continue to grow our food security here in Anguilla.
We have some different varieties, but mainly some avocados, mangoes, star fruit, lemons, limes, tangerine, I think some navel oranges. We're disappointed somewhat because we was to get some breadfruit, but the cold front that I had in Florida, they actually damaged most of the breadfruit, so we actually didn't get a shipment of breadfruit, but hopefully we get them in the future. Or we're gonna harden up the plants for maybe 2-3 weeks, and then hopefully they go for sale after that, but we're gonna try to get them hardened up and acclimatized before we actually put them on sale. I'm suggesting we don't try to make a profit. We just try to recover the cost that we put in, or at least close to what we put in. But this container costs us roughly $40,000 for those plants, and it's like 1,500 plus plants. And added to the freight, which is another $9,000. So the plants could be pretty expensive, but the artist is just to make sure the general population have fruit trees in their backyard, so they could actually have a fruit when they're in need. So of course we could see all these are grafted plants, so you could see flowers on them. This flower buds, so they all are grafted. There's a graft right here, and this is the mango. This is grafted as well. This is a Julie mango. So hopefully in a year and a half, 2 years time, we should have fruit on this plant because it's grafted. It came from a mature tree. That's the idea of grafting. You actually reduce your harvest time from 8-9 years to actually 2 to 3 years. So the advantage of grafting. Also, you get a specific plant on a rootstock. All flower buds. So hopefully this plant should be having flowers. The flowers going to be out in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and hopefully by October, you should have a pear ready to eat. Yeah. So that's the idea of grafting. It actually reduces the harvest time, the maturity time. Because this comes from a mature plant. This sign is from a mature plant. Yeah, so that's the art of grafting.
Residents interested in purchasing trees or learning more about starting a fruit orchard are encouraged to contact the Department of Agriculture. In health, this week's Just the Facts featured discussions with senior health officials addressing key public health matters.
So we are able now to actually send the images. You don't have to walk from accident emergency to go to X-ray for the doctor to see an image. And then what makes that even more helpful is for telemedicine now, when we have persons that have to fly out, or persons that are looking for a second opinion. We can sit back and email you images and just, at your convenience. And it also means we now have the electronic record system at the hospital. So your record follows you to every location that we have a facility.
So right now we're actually trying to get 2 of each specialist in place. So we've had just very recently, last week, had interviews for the pediatrician, and we are to have interviews this Friday for obstetrician gynecologist. Now, how soon will we have that person in? It depends. Because once we have the interview, we go ahead, write our scripts. It goes to the Public Service Commission to review our scripts, and then on to the Deputy Governor before those persons, or single person, whatever the case may be, are then approved to be offered the post. And then I say persons because sometimes we have a number of persons that we think would be a good fit for us, well-trained, able to work in an environment where you don't have everything that you might need at your fingertips in terms of materials, subspecialists, exactly, technology, everything. And if the first person declines, we have a second person to go to, etc. But the idea is that we should not have a single specialist working at the hospital. Again, it gets very tiring, and it can, if persons are tired, that could be dangerous for them and the patients.
The AGIS team was also invited to tour the refurbished operating theater outfitted with new equipment at the Princess Alexandra Hospital, highlighting continued investment in healthcare infrastructure.
I would like to introduce to you Chris. Chris is a biomedical engineer, every engineer that you can think about. Chris, you help me about it. Chris is here in terms of laying out the plan, the framework for the work that is needed in order to be able to make the theater appropriate for what we want it for. Chris has extensive experience. He would have worked in the Cayman Islands and still based in Cayman Islands and Bermuda and so on and so forth. He would have worked with Health City. A number of Anguillians would be very, very familiar with Health City. He would have done quite a bit of work there. As a result of that, he's amply qualified and able to improve and to retrofit this theater to what we would want it to be. Chris is here with the plans, what we need to do. He will explain in terms of the laminar airflow and all of that technical stuff for the people of Anguilla.
Thank you. Yeah, one of the biggest concerns in an upgrading operating room is doing the infection control.
Right.
And there's a lot of infection risk through the airflow, through the air conditioning systems. So one of the biggest portions of this work is upgrading the air conditioning system. So we've got new high efficiency package systems with UV lights and HEPA filtration that we will be installing. The ductwork will be completely redone to this unit, and it's going to be mold resistant, the new phenolic duct, UL listed phenolic duct, 30 mil with a coating that goes on the outside to prevent water penetration and sunlight, UV lights. Inside the facility, you can see there's no ceiling in this. So one thing we need to do is install laminar flow diffusers, which disperses the air over the top of the patient as they're getting surgery. The returns will be in the corners, so the air actually washes down across the patient, making it clinically clean air that comes across, and then it disperses back to the corners and is returned, put through UV lights, put through HEPA filtration, and comes back out. So it's a super clean environment. One of the cleanest you can get. The laboratory is on this scale. This is on this scale. This is such a great environment for doing orthopedic surgeries. Keeps the humidity nice and low, which contains airborne contaminants. The lighting will be adjusted. We will have a LED lights all the way around, as you can see on this drawing. So it'll give basically the full spectrum of light across, apart from these spotlights that they'll be putting on the patient as well. So there's a huge emphasis on air filtration, and the HVAC system is going to be a completely new system.
To tell and to be here to present a little bit what we do, and like Mr. I just mentioned, this is a teamwork in terms of equipment, in terms of installation, and we were able to work for the past, I would say, 6 months in record time. Let me say it, the collaboration with the government of Anguilla to have here state-of-the-art technologies. I have more than 20 years of experience specifically in medical devices for orthopedics. I worked in Europe, Puerto Rico, Cayman, and I can tell you that this experience for the past 6 to 9 months was absolutely amazing in terms of the proactivity of the government, in proactivity of people to work here and to be able to bring the technologies that I think that quite in a short period of time we will be able to start having a direct impact on the population of Anguilla. Here the focus was to establish a new standard, and the new standard was let's be reasonable, means that the government was very careful selecting the technologies, so they were not just let's get me the best, get me the best that can meet our demands and that we can project us to the future. So it's a balance between reasonably but great technology, and I can assure you that the technology that you can see here is completely aligned with the best hospitals, not only in Cayman, but I can give you, because I'm Portuguese, so you believe me, that, for example, in Portugal, this is technology that was probably 2 or 3 years. So it's completely aligned with the most recent technologies, but, and what government was mentioning that very, very, very carefully, that we need to be balanced.
So good morning, everyone. As the minister and Daniel indicated, as well as Chris, this has been a long time in the making. It's been actually probably close to almost a year now, dealing with Daniel, going back and forth, and about, as he said, about 9 months in terms of getting it done. The equipment is both designed in such a way that we can continue to expand. And as the minister indicated, there's still some things to be shipped. So we know now that we have our C-arm that's ready. That should be hopefully shipping out within the next week. We expect that we will have some additional equipment coming in for operating theater in about 2 to 3 weeks.
Here, this is the arthroscopic tower. I will give you some brief description on every equipment. This unit is the shaver. Shaver is like a blade that we go inside the joint to remove small pieces of tissue that is teared or that needs to be cleaned. We use this one in combination with the visualization. This is the camera that will allow us to go inside the joint, and through a hole, you can imagine like 5 millimeters, you can go inside a joint, we can see everything and we can repair it. This is minimal invasive surgery that basically is aligned with the highest standards of quality. Here you have the camera inside, and you have the light source that basically you have light to see inside. This one is a radio frequency system. Is in combination with the mechanical resection, is to ablate tissue. For example, if you have a vessel that is bleeding inside the joint, you can use it directly with it. And finally, because the joints are so limited in space, you typically need to have an inflated articulation. So for that, we use a pump that pumps saline inside the joint, and the surgeon can be able to see it, to wash it, and to be able to work in perfect conditions. So imagine this, that inside a joint, if he gets some bleeding, he can pump, he can ablate, he can resect tissue, and can repair it through tiny holes. So with 5 millimeter holes on your knee, he can repair a ligament, he can repair a meniscus, and you can get back on your life in a matter of weeks. Typically in the past, they will doing a major incision, open everything, and will take a lot of time, risk of infection. With this is faster recovery, better outcomes. So that's what you can get with this simple but highly complex equipment. And I can assure you that on top of each one of these equipments, you need to have additional machines adapting here, shavers that will have 5 or 6 different options depending on each patient. Here we will have different probes that will ablate different tissues with different angles, here with the tubing. And all of this combined with a ton of instruments and implants that, as Malcolm mentioned, they are on their way to Anguilla, that will complement all of this. So multiple instrument trays, retractors, implants to match every single patient specific needs and requirements.
This is AGIS, Anguilla Government Information Service, your trusted source for accurate government updates. Join us next time with more facts that inform, connect, and inspire.